April Day 1992, in the royal family of Toro, a child was born whose life would become part of the history books of Uganda and the world. His name was Oyonyimba Kabamba Iguru Kid IV, a son of Omukama Patrick David Matthew Rwamuhocha Kaboyo Olime III and Queen Mother Best Kemisha. He was born on 16 April 1992, at a time when nobody could have imagined that this little prince would soon carry one of Africa's ancient crowns on his tiny shoulders. But history had already written a different chapter for him. On 26 August 1995, tragedy struck the royal household when his father, King Patrick David Matthew Kaboyo Olime III, died. The heir to the throne was only 3 years old, and so on 12 September 1995, the little Prince Oyo ascended the throne of Toro Kingdom as Omukama Rukidi IV. At only 3 years of age, he became the world's youngest reigning monarch, a distinction that placed the name of Toro and Uganda on the international map. Think about that for a moment. At an age when most children are learning how to read, play with friends, and understand the world around them, Oyo was being prepared to understand the kingdom, its people, its history, and its responsibilities. He did not choose the circumstances that made him king. The crown came to him through tragedy, but with time, he learned to carry it with dignity. His childhood was therefore unlike that of an ordinary Ugandan child. He had to grow up under the watch of the royal institution, while at the same time receiving an education that would prepare him for the modern world. He studied at Aga Khan Primary School, later attended Kabila International School, and eventually pursued a bachelor's degree in business management at the University of Winchester in the United Kingdom, graduating in 2013. But perhaps the most remarkable part of King Oyo's story is that he didn't remain simply a young man wearing a crown. As he grew older, he increasingly used his position to speak about issues affecting ordinary people, particularly young people, and his reign became associated with education, youth empowerment, agriculture, health, tourism, culture, and environmental conservation.
Ninterere imyenda ya Toro na banywani beitu inywena kugitunga mugisome kandi mugietegereze nuko tukore hamwe kukikiriza.
Conservation. When you're conserving the ecosystem or the environment, you're talking of conservation by planting trees. And the kingdom has been aggressive towards that over the years. Obviously, we have had a problem of deforestation in the kingdom and across the country as well. So we are trying to now recorrect that and sensitize our people on how important conserving but also growing the tree. Growing it, and also to the point where now we want to even name these trees after our people. You know, growing a tree is like having a baby and making sure that baby grows to maturity. So I want to make sure that our people understand.
In 2016, his voice in the national fight against HIV/AIDS, when he was appointed UNAIDS culture champion for HIV and AIDS among young people in Eastern and Southern Africa. He used his influence to encourage young people to take HIV prevention seriously and advocated for an end to new HIV infections among children. His concern for young people was not merely expressed in speeches. Under his leadership, Toro Kingdom promoted youth skilling, entrepreneurship, and opportunities for young people to participate in economic development. The kingdom established a youth business center and pursued ICT and vocational initiatives intended to give young people practical skills in a rapidly changing economy. King Oyo also understood that for a region like Toro, agriculture was not simply an economic activity, it was a foundation of survival and prosperity. He established a model farm in Chenjejo where people could learn modern agricultural practices and different farming enterprises. The farm demonstrated activities including dairy farming, fish farming, coffee, bananas, poultry, goats, tomatoes, and other enterprises, with the intention of allowing ordinary people to learn, experiment, and improve their livelihoods. And then there was his love for the environment. In a country where the effects of climate change are increasingly visible, King Oyo became one of the cultural leaders who used his public platform to speak about environmental protection. In 2022, he led the Loyo Rwenzori Mountain expedition, climbing the Rwenzori Mountains to draw attention to climate change and the importance of protecting the environment, while also promoting mountain tourism. That image of a king climbing the Rwenzori Mountains carries a deeper message. It was not merely a royal adventure, it was a statement that leadership sometimes requires leaving the comfort of the palace and confronting the challenges affecting the people and the land.
And that creates an influx of herbivores that also help the population of the predators such as lions, hyenas, leopards, cheetahs, and African wild dogs. So that boosts the tourism in those countries. That's why you have an influx of tourists coming from all over the world to go to these parks in our fellow East African countries like Tanzania and Kenya. So if Uganda can protect its corridors, like the one that I explained to you between Virunga National Park and Queen Elizabeth, and create more wildlife corridors, we'll have the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a good experience.
His reign also coincided with a period in which Fort Portal gained greater prominence as a tourism destination and city. He championed the promotion of Toro's cultural heritage and tourism potential, recognizing that the kingdom possesses something that money cannot manufacture. He encouraged sports and youth engagement, supported cultural activities, and created platforms through which young people could participate in conversations about their future. He was a custodian of culture at a time when traditional institutions around Africa continue to face the challenge of remaining relevant in a modern world. King Oyo inherited the crown when he was only 3 years. He inherited not only the throne, but the expectations of generations. For nearly 31 years, his name was inseparable from Toro, and he saw the kingdom change, saw Fort Portal transform. He saw a new generation of young people emerge. On the evening of 27th August 2026, Uganda was confronted with heartbreaking news of his death at the age of 34. The announcement followed hours of uncertainty after the kingdom had confirmed that the king was critically ill and receiving medical care in the United States. For some, that may sound like a short life, but when measured not only in years, but in influence, King Oyo's life tells another story. He became a king at 3, became a student, a graduate. He became an advocate for young people, a voice in the fight against HIV/AIDS, and a champion of agriculture. His death leaves more than an empty loyal chair. it leaves a question for a new generation. What will you do with the opportunities handed to you? King Oyo's story teaches us that leadership is not determined by age. As Uganda mourns, as Toro mourns, as the Loyo family mourns, we remember not only the king who died, but the boy who was forced by history to grow up beneath a crown, the young man who transformed that unusual childhood into a life of public service, and the monarch who spent his reign reminding his people that the strength of a kingdom is not merely in its palace, its royal regalia or its ancient traditions, but in the well-being, dignity, and future of his people. O Mukama oyo nyimba kabamba iguru rikidifo. You came to the throne as a child. You lived under the weight of history, and you leave behind a legacy that is now history itself. Rest in peace, King Oyo. Rest in peace, O Mukama, and rest in peace, son of Toro. I remain Davis Omugisha, Kampala.